Good morning. Welcome to the C Electrical presentation from IGE+XAO. My name is Paul Massey, and today I'm going to show a quick 30-40 minute overview of our C Electrical software, what it does, the information that it generates, and also some of the ancillary information and documents that we can create from this. So C Electrical is a tool which automates the production of electrical control diagrams. It automates firstly the detailing on the drawing, such as the numbering of the components, the wire numbering, the cross-referencing, but also the documentation, bills of materials, wiring lists, PLC lists, terminal lists, and other associated drawings like enclosure drawings. So what I want to do today is, firstly, I want to spend just 2 or 3 minutes just giving a quick overview of IGE+XAO, of who we are and what we do, and then we'll run into the software to see what it does. So let's call up a good old PowerPoint presentation. So this goes January, but it'll still be valid. So IGE+XAO, we've been running for 33 years, and we specialize in electrical CAD software. It's our focus. We also cover things like project lifecycle management and simulation, but our main business revolves around electrical CAD. We've been a public company for 23 years, and we're pushing about 400 people in the business, and around the world it's coming up to 94,000 licenses for, well, just about 43, almost 44,000 customers. We operate in 22 countries directly with our own offices. Some of our offices have more than one site, and we have an additional 26 countries where we work with partners. The main bullet point on here, which I think is the most important, is 25% of our group's turnover is annually invested in R&D. We've maintained this for a long time, decades, and it's a huge number. 25% of a turnover is a large amount. However, it's necessary. You can't just invent a piece of software and then sit back and then just sell it for years. It's a constant process of improvement and development. We've always maintained solid finances. We never had any debt or other borrowing from this. However, as of February 2018, 2 years ago, we became part of Schneider Electric, so they have a majority share ownership of IGE+XAO. So, licenses, it's not like we were big in the past and not so big now. It's been pretty steady growth over the years, from the mid-80s all the way through to almost 94,000 licenses now. Turnover for the business, once again, it's been pretty steady growth over the years, constant year on year, and we're now at about 34 million euros. Customers that we supply to, it's essentially anyone who is involved in electrical design. So within aerospace, one of our biggest long-term customers is Airbus. All Airbus planes for decades have used our C Electrical software for all the wiring and the cabling inside and the harnesses. We cover automotive, not just in the machines that manufacture the cars, but also within the cars themselves. For example, if you have a VW car, the harnesses and the electrical wiring inside is designed once again with C Electrical, as well as other car manufacturers as well. We supply into railway industry, shipbuilding, construction industry. But our main business, particularly in the UK, is where I work from, is automation and power. The breakdown of how we sell it is about 10% of our licenses goes into our key accounts. These are the multinational companies who have lots and lots of licenses. Most of our business is to small to medium businesses, but we also sell down to very small businesses. So we cover from enterprise-sized customers down to, well, essentially a bloke in a shed. As I mentioned before, we operate in countries around the world where we have our own offices, mainly in Europe, but we cover North and South America and also into Asia. I mentioned earlier we're also part of Schneider Electric. Everyone knows who Schneider Electric is. They employ 137,000 people with billions in revenues. The relationship with them is called agnostic. So IGE+XAO operate independently, and the reason is that although we have superb Schneider databases and catalogs, and in fairness, they're probably our flagship databases, our customers don't exclusively buy only Schneider components. Some of them buy Siemens, Rockwell, ABB, Mitsubishi, Omron, various other manufacturers, and so we need to support this. So we carry vast databases for other manufacturers too, and we've got about 900,000 parts available in our web catalog. Within the company, we have a content team whose job is to create new symbols and components, and our web catalog's updated on a daily basis. Around the world, we work with a bunch of both business partners, mainly in Eastern Europe, but elsewhere in the world for where IGE+XAO don't have a sales office. But we also have technology partners that we work with, naturally Schneider, but also the likes of Alstom, ABB, Siemens, Dassault Systems, who make CATIA and SolidWorks, and we have a lot of technology partners elsewhere. Our software portfolio revolves around electrical design. It is our core business. We cover some areas of data content and management, some simulation packages that we do. We also have electrical manufacturing. We're not a panel building company, but we create tools to help people that are going to manufacture electrical panels and the equipment. And this includes things like jig boards and harness manufacturing, as well as the 3D panel module, which I'm going to show you later in this seminar. Finally, our last slide is, this is what well, almost 400 people look like. So this is our IGE+XAO team. Right, let's not spend any more time on the PowerPoints. Let's go into the software and let's see what it does. So we've got a schematic page over here. Software will automate as I said, the detailing on the drawings. We can just go through various pages. I've got some space down here, so let's zoom in a bit closer and let's drop some components on. So if I go down to symbols, I'm looking at the electrical automation catalog here, but we also have other manufacturer data on our catalogs as well. So naturally you'd expect to see Schneider, but things like Siemens, you might be using an S7 or 1500. So down here there's a whole bunch of extra components which are not IEC standard symbols, but are specific for a particular electrical manufacturer's equipment. Allen Bradley down here. Compact Logics, for example, pick an item. So this over here isn't a symbol for a normal IC symbol. It's a specific symbol for this 1769L35E component. However, let's do some simple drawing just to show how the software goes together. So I'm going to go into the IEC catalog here, and let's place something like a lamp. So if I drop a lamp and I drop one just down to here, it labels it P1, first lamp of the project. If I put another lamp in over here, it'll suggest it's going to be called P2. It's numbering on this example as sequential numbering, but you can have many different numbering formats. Page and line number is a very common one, but you can also have formulas where you can dictate to the software how you want the creation of the component ID managed. If I double click on a symbol, I can look at its properties. So it's over here, it's P2, but if I wanted to change that and call it P1, when I click on OK, software will give me a warning to say this component already exists, and do I intend to combine it with an existing component elsewhere. Naturally, it sees what's on the page, but it also sees what's on all of the other pages of the project. You can't duplicate the same component in the same enclosure. When I come to draw wires, now we have a distinction between lines, like the lines in the title block, and electrical wires which connect the equipment together. So if I have a normal control wire, let's go from here and then just drop it over to the I/O card. Let's have another wire, let's just bring it down to here. So the wires break automatically as it passes through the symbol. It knows you're doing electrical design. If you've got a symbol on the wire, you can just mark it and say, let's just drag this across and copy it over to here. So I've now got another one, P1, P2, P3. And although dropping symbols and wires is nice and straightforward, we try to encourage you to create your projects out of modular blocks. And you can make standard circuits very easily with C Electrical. So if I go down to an examples folder, and let's make a new folder, and let's call it my symbols. Good. And what I'll do is I'll just mark these 3 lamps over here, and I'll just pick them up and I'll drag them over here into my new catalog, and I'll say you are called 3 lamps. And now if I grab this and I just drag it over to here, I've now continued, you know, P3, P4, P5, P6. It just continues the numbering. On a symbol as well, there are other attributes that you can include. This can include like descriptions for the lamp, but also a type. Now the type is who supplies this, the part number. So you might want to look for something with the word pilot in it. So down here gives me a list instantly of all of the components in my catalog that I'm using of, so I could say it's a ZB4. Click on there, so the part number is over here, and so this part number will now be associated with that symbol. So when I come to do parts lists and enclosure layouts, the parts information will be included. Matter of fact, I don't really need all of these lamps down here, so I'll just take these off. And I've got some contactors here. It's a what is it? It's a T6K control relay, a CA2KN, so that's fine. So let's just grab these 3 over here, and let's just duplicate them just over there. So I've got K6, K7 and K8. I've got some wires here. I can double click on a wire and I can manually put in a wire number. Certain wire numbers you do want to manually label, things like protective earths or neutrals or any wires that you want to have be called a specific name. But for general control wires in this case, I'm going to just say to the software, just generate the numbers automatically. Choose what I need, just click on OK, and it then just goes along and adds new wire numbers for the wires that are not yet numbered. There's a format of the wires. I've said on here these are all control wires, and on these wires they have a prefix of P, but I have different types of wire numbering for different types of wires. So if I look at my signal type setup, I can see a list of the types of signals. These are my controls, and I can see they are prefixed with a P. And I can also choose the properties for the colors that I want in them, and the lengths and the type of text attributes that I wish to see. So against these different types of wires, I can have different types of wire numbering systems. Good. So let's look at a bit of documentation from this project. So if I go to my workspace, I can go to graphical lists. Graphical lists are reports that go to drawings. So I could say, generate me a bill of materials. Let's look at this page over here. Let's zoom in a bit closer. I can see down here I've got 6 of those CA2KN. So this is that T6K control really, because there's 6 of them in my project at the moment. And this is just like a shopping basket list of all of the items you need to include into your project purchasing. There are many types of lists. So I could look at a wiring list, for example. This is a point-to-point wire list of all of the wires in this project. So I can see the sizes, the colors, the names of the signals, and where it goes from and to. Very useful for commissioning and fault finding, because if there's an absence of volts on a wire, you can see what it was supposed to be connected to. Elsewhere in this project, you may have things like cabling reports. So over here we've got cable W1 is 5 meter cable, and cores 1, 2, 3 and 4, and you can see where it goes from and where it goes to. So when you're doing your cable site installations, it's very easy just to generate all of the necessary information for your electrical installations people. And there's other reports as well. There's lots of these reports. These cable unrow row plan type reports, or I could say let's generate a terminal matrix report so it looks through for all of the terminals in the project and then generates the terminal strip diagrams for it. And I can see down here to put the little links in automatically where there are commons. So this is one style. As you can see, there are lots and lots of lists. Another way of generating lists is in a thing called a reports generator. So on here, I can save that. On here I could look at, for example, a bill of materials. So this is a bill of materials. I can see here my 6 CA2 TSYS control relays again. And so this is once again just a formatted report, and I can export that. I can send it out as a PDF or HTML or a spreadsheet file, and share it with other systems. So, and there's various reports, and you can modify and create your own reports. Final method of reporting as well are database reports. So a database report's not quite so pretty, but I can highlight these and then just say copy, and then from here I could go to something like Excel. Let's just open that, and inside my spreadsheet I can just paste that in. Let's just expand some of these fields out so we can see what it says. So now once again, this is that TSYS relay, that's CA2. We've got hyperlinks inside for further information. I've got X, Y, and Z dimensions. I've got weights. I've got other parameters. But this information can also be shared with purchasing systems, for example, or labeling systems that you want to use it. It's all of the data from the project can be saved out in a whole variety of formats to be shared with other systems. Saves typing it in. Good. So let's just go back to where we were before and just close a few of these. Let's go back to my PLC outputs. Great. I've been showing you so far symbols that already exist and are already in our catalogue, and obviously we have vast amounts of content in our web catalogues as well, but you can also make your own symbols. So to make a symbol, well, I think the easiest method is to go File, Open, and bring in an existing symbol that's already been drawn in AutoCAD, DWG, DXF. Many manufacturers will create symbols already, and you can make use of these inside of C Electrical. And if you've got existing drawings that you've got, by all means bring in the symbols and use them. However, if you haven't got anything and you need to draw it, that's no problem. Just click on Draw, choose what you want. I'm just going to draw a rectangle over here. Yeah, it's not so bad. And in this rectangle, I could draw some text. I could say this is a controller, like that. And then I could add some further text. So I could say I want text A1. Now, this isn't just a piece of dumb text to describe stuff. In this case, I'm going to make this a connection point. There's many types of connections, but I'm just going to say it's a connection point, and I'll draw it here. So now I've got a connection point next to my symbol. The position and justifications, obviously, you can configure. I can have another connection point, A2, and I'll place the other one down here. And I can go connection, 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 so I can have lots and lots of connection points on a component. To make this saved as a symbol, I just window around it, right mouse button, choose block, block and explode, just like I showed earlier on. So in block, it asks me what sort of symbol it's going to be, and the catch-all is normally component. Most of the symbols are just components, but we have specials. Click on here and let's give it a prefix T. This might be a temperature control. I'm going to label it T1, T2, T3, and let's just drop it down here. And if I wanted to include my new temperature controller symbol in my catalog over here, it's just a process of just picking the symbol up and dragging it over and say you are a temp controller. So nice and easy. And if I then added another one over here, there it is, T1, T2. Naturally, if I then draw an electrical wire that goes through these, and then through here. The wires break as they pass through the symbols. You know, it's a automated electrical design software. Makes the process of creating schematics so much nicer and easier. Excellent. So yeah, let's look at an enclosure layout for this. So I've got some drawings, I've got some wire numbering, I've got some documentation. Let's look at a panel drawing. We do panel drawings as either 2D or 3D. For this seminar, I'm going to show you the 3D one, but and 3D has been extremely popular. We've sold quite a lot of these in the last few years. 2D, it could be described as a little bit simpler. It's a little bit cheaper, but the 3D has some really nice tools which customers have really liked. So we're just bringing in the 3D enclosure. So this, we can see the panel, we can sort of peek underneath it and look inside. So I've got my, I can see over here, I'm going to click just on the door, so it highlights the layer where the door is, and I could choose just to make that invisible, so I can now look inside it. And so now I can see what's inside of here. So let's zoom in a little bit closer. I will, on my components, let's just load in them all. So yeah, that's fine, it didn't take long. And then where I've got ticks, it shows me the components that are already placed in my enclosure. So if I go further down with any luck, there it is. I've got my K6, 7 and 8, even my 2 temperature controller items. So K6, I can insert that and I can pick up the symbol, and here is my 3D representation for that particular TSYS contactor. And if I come to draw it onto my, put it on my rail, I don't need to be that accurate. I can just put it to the side here, and as I click, it just drops it on for me. The software knows what it's trying to do. Most 3D mechanical packages allow you to bend and metalwork and drill holes through it and do these things and it doesn't really have a knowledge about the purpose of what it's going to be used for. We expect this is the design of an internal control panel, so this really makes the process so much easier. Also, if you didn't want to just manually place it, you can just pick a rail like this rail here, and I say let's put K7 on there and K8 on there as well, so you can just click and it just adds them on to the rail that you selected, or you can take them off. Or I might decide I want to have a 3 mil gap between them. So if I just add these, you may notice that now there's just a small gap between these items. And as I start populating more and more of my panel, it starts filling it up. Now you can see there's no wiring on my new components yet, but I can do this by saying let's just reroute everything. Yep. So it has a quick scan of the wiring information from my project, and then it drops on the wiring inside my panel, and it's routed it according to shortest distance. Software also, you know, there is intelligence as well. If I pick up a component like this one over here and then drop it over here, you can see the wire is just rerouted automatically. If I just pick it and put it back, once again, wires reconnected. This one's got some more connections on it. If I drop that into the same place, once again you can see how the wiring is just instantly routed inside the panel according to shortest distance. We also have extra rules on here. You can have, if there are components that need a specific gap between other components, we can have collision detections. It'll highlight them red if it's too close. We can share the thermal information about these items. We can also look at things like if I see this cable tray over here, I can see it's getting quite full over here. I can go to my cabinet menu and then say, look at the information on this, and I can look at my fill of my wireway to see whether I'm close. So I can specify a size of my wireway and a percentage fill, like I want no more than 80%, but I can look along the length of the wireway and see where the cables are. They're not going to fit in. You're never going to get the door shut on it. You can see over here where there's some existing routing where you can also force the wire routing by specifying wire channels where you want the wires to go down. So you can lay out exactly where you want the components connected within the door area. This drawing is still linked to the schematics as well. It's all part of an integrated single project. So I could point to an item and say, let's show me where this is used. So I could say, show me where the circuit diagram, where it is on the circuit diagrams. Click on it. I'll say, yes, I will save this. So it'll now close my 3D layout, and then go back into my project and then just drop a little pin onto K6, which was the component that I was looking at just a few minutes ago. Or I could say, take me to K7 and say, go to 3D panel, and once again drops you back into the enclosure drawings, and then once it's done there, it'll just drop me onto the component and then just highlight it for me. The 3D enclosure drawings can also be saved as step and digest files if you've got things like Inventor or SolidWorks or other mechanical packages that you wanted to share the 3D drawing information to. And there's also other tools that we've got, like adding copper work and things like that onto this, so you can do proper enclosures. The data on this 3D enclosure can also be saved for our shop floor tool. This is a small bit of inexpensive software which is designed to be on the shop floor. It doesn't allow the electrical installers to modify the design, but it takes them through a step-by-step process of how this panel could be wired by taking them to essentially to the first wire, showing them from this 3D drawing where it gets connected on the connection point, and then the routing that it uses to get to the destination. So when the wireman has wired that particular item, he can then just click on the screen to say, I've done that, which then takes him to the next wire. And once again, when he's done that, it takes him to the next wire. It's very handy if you've got multiple people creating the same panel. It means you've got consistency, all the panels look the same, but there's also traceability. You can see, you know, when it was done, who did it, how quickly they did it maybe. And even if the wireman goes away on a break and he comes back, he can continue from where he last left off on a very, very simple tool. It sort of de-skills the job of the wireman, but it's a process of just making the system quicker and, more importantly, more accurate for generating your drawings. So hopefully from this morning, it's a quick overview of the C Electrical software. My name is Paul Massey. I'm the sales manager for the UK. Naturally, a full presentation can take an hour or two, but hopefully this gives you a quick overview of how we can create schematics, do auto numbering, auto wire numbering, generating reports in a variety of formats, and then doing a graphical representation in 3D with automated wire routing and wire length calculations to make the process of building your panels both quicker, easier, and more efficient. So thank you for your time in attending this morning's seminar. If you want further information, please look at our website, www.IGE+XAO.com. You can get further information. You can also download an evaluation copy of the software. It's free, it'll run for 30 days, and you can try out your own drawings, create some symbols. And there's also an excellent tutorial, which I strongly recommend, which then takes you once again through a step-by-step process to help you learn how best to use the software. And should you choose to purchase the software, your serial number and password are just entered into the evaluation package, and then off you're going with it. Any questions, please drop us an email at from my office at uk@IGE+XAO.com, but obviously our contact details on our website. So I wish you all a fine day for the rest of your day, and thank you very much for attending the presentation from IGE+XAO. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.